Jolt, what up? How my favorite middle schoolers? Hey guys, we are in week 3 talking about Elisha, this powerful prophet from the Old Testament. Prophet meaning someone that would speak for God. Well, Elisha was a very powerful prophet, but he wasn't the only prophet. There was like a lot of them. And one of them, this prophet named Obadiah, actually passed away. And he left a wife and kids behind, which is really awful and sad story. And the wife, the widow, she fell into some pretty hard times, and she had to borrow money from some people to pay for stuff that she couldn't pay that person back. And then that creditor actually eventually came and took one of her sons and said, until you can pay me, I'm gonna keep him. Which feels awful, doesn't it? So this widow is extremely sad and angry and all of these different emotions because she's lost her son and she can't pay this creditor back and she's got no food. It was just a really bad situation. So she sends for Elisha, hoping maybe he can come and help. When Elisha hears about this, he comes to her and he says, all right, well, what can I do to help? What do you have in your house? And the widow replies and she's like, I don't have anything. If I had anything, then we'd be able to try and get my son back, but I don't have anything. And Elisha's like, okay, look around, think. You have to have something. What do you have? She says, well, all I have is this one jar of oil. It's just a little bit of oil. That's it. One jar of oil. That's all I got. Isn't that kind of so like us? That whenever we're in trouble, we don't focus on what we do have. All we focus is on what we don't have. Well, anyways, Elisha says, well, you do have something. You have one small jar of oil. So send your kids out and find as many empty jars as you can. Go to all your neighbors, go to your friends, have them collect as many empty jars and bring them back to the house. She's like, how is that gonna help? But you know what? They were desperate, so she did it, sent her kids out, and they filled the house with jars. So picture it, there's this widow, there's the prophet Elisha, there's her kids, and they're in this house, and all they have is this one jar of oil and then a bunch of empty jars. And Elisha says, all right, well, pour the oil into that jar, and then just keep pouring. She's like, how is that gonna help? I'm just gonna put the oil from one jar to the next. But you know what? You're the prophet, fine, I'll do it. And so she starts pouring. Jar fills up. Hey, somebody bring me another jar. They give her another jar and she pours into that one and that one fills all the way up. So she grabs another jar and she fills that one and it fills all the way up. She fills up every single jar in their house. All of these jars filled to the brim with oil from just this one little jar. You see, God did what only God can do, and God did a miracle and God provided for her. Now, there's a lot I think we can learn from this story about God being faithful, about God being powerful to do miracles, about us being able to ask God for help. But one thing I want to focus on today, how often when we are in need, do we focus on the things we don't have instead of being thankful for the things that we do have? We have this tendency to think about all of the things I want and forget all the things that we already have. Now, that one jar of oil was not going to be enough to help them, but once they had all of these jars of oil, she could go and sell the oil in the market and have the money to pay that creditor and get her son back. And I think one of the things that God wants to teach all of us is to stop waiting for what you want and start working with what you have. As we start this new school year, don't think about all of the things you want. Don't think about all of the things you don't have, because I fully believe that God wants to use you in big ways this school year to help your class, to help your classmates, to help your school, to help your family. God wants to use you to make a difference. How awesome is that? But God can't use us when we're focused on what we don't have, but only when we start working with what we do have. God wants to use you as you are, where you are, right now. So stop waiting for what you want, stop waiting for what you don't have, and start working with what you